Today, I'm going to share with you an unexpected and amazing event from my life that happened just last year. I decided to share the details of what happened to me last Christmas. I'm Liam, a 34-year-old man, presently employed in an information technology department. I feel compelled to express the importance of exercising caution when placing trust in others. It might be worthwhile to take a step back and reflect upon the previous year, a time when circumstances seemed incredibly positive and without complications. My marital relationship was flourishing, characterized by harmony and ease. Our intimate connection was truly exceptional, brimming with joy and affection. Notably, my partner and I ventured into the heartwarming journey of adopting a 5-year-old child from an orphanage. In straightforward terms, everything appeared to be ordinary and positive. However, I soon came to recognize that the situation was, in fact, not as straightforward as it seemed. Despite this realization, I had been placing complete trust in my wife. I recall a particular instance from the beginning of our marriage when my wife was positioned in front of the mirror, engrossed in adorning herself. This incident took place around midnight. I had a suspicion that perhaps my wife was getting ready with the intention of creating an enticing atmosphere in the bedroom. I can vividly recall her appearing exceptionally stunning and attractive. Her choice of attire and accessories exuded a certain charm. The evening unfolded with heightened excitement and pleasure, and we shared a deeply enjoyable time together. As the night progressed, I gradually drifted into a peaceful slumber, still retaining a glimpse of my wife in my consciousness. I was taken aback when I stumbled upon her capturing inappropriate photographs within the confines of the bathroom. The moment our eyes met, I can distinctly recall the evident bewilderment that clouded her expression. I was utterly astounded by the situation, feeling a mix of incredulity and disbelief. Addressing the situation directly, I inquired about the purpose behind these photographs. In response, my wife explained that she was merely attempting to identify any skin blemishes on her body. Despite perplexing discovery, I chose to overlook the incident and simply went to bed. Another memory that comes to mind is a Halloween party I organized at our home. I was genuinely enthusiastic about hosting the event, and our friends were equally excited to partake in the festivities. Each of my friends were true party enthusiasts. I can recall my wife being occupied in the kitchen, diligently preparing snacks and treats in anticipation of the party. Amidst the preparations, my attention was drawn to a heart-shaped cookie. It crossed my mind that perhaps my wife had crafted this sweet treat with the intention of bringing a smile to my face and adding to my delight. I can vividly recall the commencement of the party, during which my wife made an entrance in a striking and attention-grabbing outfit. Her appearance garnered considerable admiration from my friends, who were quite vocal in their praise of her appearance and physique. This gathering marked the third occasion that my friends had the opportunity to meet her. Candidly speaking, I experienced a surge of jealousy, as the manner in which they were gazing at my wife became increasingly difficult for me to tolerate. I approached my wife and suggested that she consider changing her provocative attire, but she remained unresponsive. In fact, her response was a reminder that I should take pride in having such a wonderful and attractive wife. Despite this initial tension, the day proceeded with enjoyment. As the party eventually concluded and our friends bid their farewells, one of them chose to stay overnight at our home. My wife kindly offered him accommodation in a guest room. I was peacefully asleep beside my wife when I suddenly awakened. To my astonishment, my wife was nowhere to be found in the bedroom. This occurrence transpired around 3 a.m. I promptly rose from the bed and exited the room with the intention of locating my wife. As I ventured out, I perceived hushed conversations emanating from the direction of the guest room upon opening its door. I was taken aback by the sight of my wife and friend, engaged in conversation during the late hours of the night. Their interaction at such an hour surprised me greatly. I distinctly recall my wife donning a provocative and alluring nightdress at that moment. In all honesty, when they noticed my presence before them, they appeared composed, although there was a hint of confusion in their expressions. They extended an invitation for me to join their conversation, but I declined, citing fatigue, and suggested that my wife accompany me back to our room. I was feeling a bit perturbed. In an attempt to ease my unease, I asked my wife about the heart-shaped cookie and why she hadn't offered it to me. She responded, explaining that my friend had been feeling hungry and had requested the snack from her. Since she didn't discover anything concerning, she ended up offering him the heart-shaped cookie. I remained silent, not addressing the situation. I genuinely appreciated the way she was tending to everyone's needs. The following morning, as I woke up and made my way to the kitchen, I found my wife amid a culinary adventure with caramel pancakes. Their aroma had permeated throughout the house. When I entered the kitchen, in order to give my wife back hug, I was utterly startled to witness my friend embracing her. My reaction was immediate, and I literally shouted on them. My wife was really confused and clearly caught off guard by the situation. My friend appeared equally puzzled, but then slyly insinuated that he was, in fact, frightening my wife. He claimed that Halloween from the previous night had left him feeling quite unsettled. It dawned on me that I had been quite gullible, always placing my trust in him. Despite brushing it off, my mood took a noticeable dip during that moment. My wife seemed to overlook my feelings, proceeding to accompany my friend in order to drop him off as his car was experiencing issues. Then came the day of my wife's birthday. Eager to create a memorable experience for her, I orchestrated a special birthday celebration, extending invitations to our circle of friends. The birthday party was a resounding success, much to her delight. I presented her with an exquisite and refined beverage. I recall her showering compliments on my thoughtful gesture, even as my friends bestowed upon her a lavish ring. My focus inadvertently shifted to my friend's elaborate gift. She really ignored my gift. There was no place of my angriness and disappointment. I retreated to a quiet corner of the birthday venue and lit a cigarette just as my wife approached. Her hand gently rested on my shoulder, and she shared that my gift held the utmost significance to her. In that moment, our lips met in a fervent kiss. Our physical relationship was really going. Yet over time, I noticed a shift in her behavior. She began displaying a certain rudeness, often passing judgment on me and even mocking my physical prowess. Her intentions or motivations remained unclear. She started reaching the house very late, and her irresponsibility extended to the point where she that stopped cooking. She would frequently exhibit anger and rudeness towards me without apparent cause. I frequently discovered her engaged in late-night video calls, a pattern that emerged while I was asleep. Subtle shifts in my life became evident as a year had passed since our marriage, yet we had not been blessed with a child. It was really not a big deal at all, yet my wife held a deep longing for a baby, which she had made abundantly clear on our wedding night. She expressed her desire to start a family promptly. One day, my wife and I engaged in an argument. I returned home from the office at around 10 p.m. that night. She grew extremely anxious about our lack of a baby, exhibiting a heightened level of concern. Her reaction bordered on irrational, and her behavior deviated significantly from her usual demeanor. She raised her voice and abruptly departed from the house. Despite my earnest attempts to mend her mood, my efforts proved fruitless. That night left me in a state of deep despondency. When my wife left the house, I was really worried about her to repeatedly attempt to reach her through phone calls. Unfortunately, her phone remained powered off, intensifying my concern. I endeavored to contact her friends in my pursuit to locate her, yet my efforts proved futile, leaving me with the unsettling sensation that she had been emotionally distanced from me. It was particularly distressing when she labeled me a man lacking virility, incapable of impregnating a woman. The night that followed was marked by restlessness as I anxiously awaited her return. Around midnight, my wife returned home accompanied by a 5-year-old child. I was shocked to see the kid along with her, and then asked her about the kid. She shared with me that she had adopted the child from an orphanage, expressing her strong desire to embrace motherhood through this adoption. Witnessing her joy brought a smile to my face, and I warmly greeted the child with a kiss, encouraging them to refer to us as their parents. Following the child's arrival, our lives began to unfold harmoniously. I recall the abundant laughter and shared enjoyment that became integral to our days. Her demeanor seemed to revert to its previous state, and the affectionate atmosphere enveloped us with daily exchanges of kisses and lingering, heartfelt embraces. Our physical intimacy underwent a significant improvement. I began to observe a change in her behavior. I now noticed her coming home on time. She used to spend most of her time with us. She stopped using her mobile phone like before. Witnessing these positive shifts, I found genuine happiness for her newfound priorities. I recall a night around 3 a.m. when I was deep in slumber. Suddenly, I was roused by a faint rustling sound, reminiscent of someone crawling. Shaking off my drowsiness, I realized my wife was absent from the bed. With a sense of alertness, I got up and traced the source of the noise, leading me to discover her in the bathroom. My wife was having an argument with someone just as I knocked on the door. She became silent for once she opened the door. I recall noticing that she appeared to be perspiring. She was really very confused, and she proceeded to offer an explanation that she had mistakenly answering the wrong call. I recall a moment when her phone persistently vibrated, and she attempted to conceal it when I requested to have her phone. My intention was to confront the individual disturbing my peace. However, my wife refused, embracing me and suggesting that I should go to sleep. I sensed the rapid rhythm of her heart as she held me close. It seemed like she was really confused and wanted to tell me something. Her face reflected a mixture of embarrassment and remorse, which I could easily discern. As I inquired about her well-being, her emotions intensified, leading her to shed tears. She did not say anything and then hugged me tightly. I had never ever seen herself. In the lead up to Christmas, a sense of restlessness pervaded. I held the desire to organize a festive gathering at our residence. However, my wife's reaction struck me as odd and somewhat unsettling. She did not want me to arrange anything in our house. Despite her past enthusiasm for hosting parties in our home, with persistent persuasion, she eventually acquiesced to my proposal. Eager to infuse our home with vibrant Christmas festivities, I enthusiastically prepared by purchasing delightful gift boxes, cards, and various other seasonal decorations. Extending invitations to all my friends, my intention was to create an energetic celebration. My wife seemed really so confused, which struck me as rather perplexing. My choice to host a party in our home didn't sit well with her, and her lack of enthusiasm was evident. Nonetheless, Christmas Day arrived, and my excitement was hard to contain. I shared a passionate kiss with my wife, embracing her warmly. Around 3 p.m., our friends began to arrive, bringing along an array of gifts. Warm greetings were exchanged, and the ensuing hours were filled with joy and laughter as we all reveled in the festivities. We engaged in numerous games, thoroughly relishing the camaraderie. As the evening progressed, around 9 p.m., we wrapped up a satisfying dinner. Most of our friends departed, leaving only one behind who chose to spend another night at our place. Around midnight, the three of us gathered for an engaging gossip session. My wife handed me a glass of wine, practically urging me. Succumbing to the effects of the alcohol, I became heavily inebriated and eventually drifted into sleep. I recalled that I had previously installed a camera in the guest room due to a previous incident involving the loss of my valuable watch when one of my wife's friends had stayed there. Upon awakening, I found my wife to be her usual self, absent from both the bed and the kitchen. I made the customary decision to review the footage from the previous night, as it had become a routine for me to check recordings whenever someone occupied the guest room. My wife remained unaware of the camera's presence. However, upon viewing the recording, I watched something that was unexpected. I was shocked to see that my friend seducing and compelling my wife. Witnessing them engaged in a physical relationship last night with my friend left me utterly astonished. The shock quickly transformed into a surge of fury. My anger was all-encompassing, leaving no room for rational thought. However, as I left the room, I was taken aback by an unexpected sight. My wife was forcefully pushing my friend away, as if she was the one confronting him. My wife me with an earnest hug, holding me tightly. I informed her that I had witnessed the events from the previous night on the camera. Overwhelmed with emotion, she began to weep. Through her tears, she confessed, "I admit it. I did something unjust to you. Actually, I feel deeply ashamed about my actions." When I asked her what exactly happened, I found my friend sweating like he was going to expose. She expressed, "I used to love you a lot, but your friend manipulated me by insisting that you were incapable of fathering a child. Eventually, I recognized that I was deceiving you and cheating with you. As a result, I ended the relationship with him and welcomed a child from an orphanage into my life. I recall the moment my spouse cried out, revealing that my friend was using blackmail to force physical intimacy. The of my wife's words brought tears to my eyes. I shoved my friend forcefully, and he then confessed to having verbally attacked my wife. He claimed that in his jealousy, driven by the fact that my girlfriend had chosen me by saying that I was more attractive physically, he was doing all this in jealousy. He resorted to such actions. It became evident that he was seeking retaliation. Upon hearing his admission, I promptly ejected him, emphasizing that I no longer wished for his presence in my life. Once more, a distinct memory when my wife offered numerous apologies. However, her willingness to entertain my friend's nonsense words was far from a genuine expression of forgiveness. It was only after I discerned her genuine remorse that I understood she truly regretted her actions. This realization prompted me to believe in the possibility of affording her a second chance. Currently, we are residing in a state of tranquility as we eagerly anticipate the imminent arrival of our baby, with my wife's delivery approaching. How would you handle the situation if you were facing something similar? Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what